The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. These Best You EXPO talks are recorded in front of a live audience in a live event. We highly recommend that you focus on the message. As they say, what you focus on expands. Enjoy. Fiona Harrold. The title of her talk is Be the Star in Your Field. How to stop competing and chasing and get clients rushing to you so you make more income and impact. She's known as the Queen Bee of Coaching. Fiona has brought coaching to the general public through television and radio appearances and columns in magazines and newspapers. Fiona has spoke at several of our expos. She's also been one of the trainers at the Tony Pro program, and she's just a phenomenal communicator. She's tremendously experienced, so I'm sure you're going to enjoy her talk. Thank you so much.
Hey, how are you? Are you all good? Great to see you. I'm really pleased to see you, actually. I had a very bad dream on Friday night, and there was 5 of you here. And it was a very strange room with armchairs and like a chaise lounge. You know a chaise lounge, if I'm saying it correctly or not. And I don't know why, but I was lying on the chaise lounge. And I was thinking to myself, this is not right. I should be upright. I should be on it. So I woke up, and I'm very pleased to see you all here. So we've got 45 minutes. I'm going to squeeze as much into 45 minutes for you as I possibly can. First of all, it's lunchtime. Has everybody got a banana or at least a piece of chocolate to keep you going? I'm thinking to myself, if they get hungry halfway through, I'm going to be left with 5 people. So anyway, I'm Fiona Harrold, author of Be Your Own Life Coach, and I've been coaching for a long time. I was in America recently. I was getting a cab back from Atlanta to the airport, and I was having that conversation with the cab driver about Americans and English and, you know, the different traits. And he said, do you know the number one problem with Americans today? I said, I don't, but I had a feeling I was about to hear. And he said, they believe everything in the media. Anything on... we got any Americans here? I need to be careful what I'm saying. Love Americans. But he said they believe everything that they hear on TV and they read in the paper. So I got on the plane. I got off 12 hours later in Heathrow. And I got to Hammersmith, took the tube to Hammersmith. And I noticed the streets were deserted. I mean, I think to myself, is it Sunday? No, it was a Thursday. The roads were empty. I got in the cab. I said, my Lord, what is going on? Where is everyone? He said, don't get me started. You're my first fare, and it was about 12 o'clock. I've been here since 8 this morning. He said, the papers are full of some new terror scare. And he said, you know what the British are like? They believe everything. This is actually absolutely true. They believe everything they read in the papers. So they're all staying at home because of this terror scare. So that could be bad news, or it could be good news, depending on how you look at it. Because people believe the media. There is an authority that comes from being in the media that doesn't come from anywhere else. Is this making sense? Okay? So when the media calls you or me the UK's top coach or the Queen Bee of Coaching or whatever it is they say, guess what happens? People believe that, which obviously for me is very good news because it means that I get great book deals. It means that I get to travel all over the world because I get invited onto stages all over the world. It means that I have people coming to me, clients clamoring to work with me. So how many of you quite like that idea? You're not having to work so hard to persuade people that you really have something useful to offer them. that when they come to you, they're already clear. They just want to find out the details of how much it would be. And here's the other thing. They expect to pay more because you've been in the media. They assume that you are an expert, that you are an authority in your field. So suddenly, literally overnight, you have a positioning and a profile that nothing else will give you. Is this making sense? Okay. How many of you want to have more of an impact in the world? How many of you have a message that you feel you want to get out to people? Hands up? Okay, hands up high. Excellent. What are the rest of you doing here? Okay. How many of you would like to have a bigger business? Would like to be making more money? Because let's face it, it makes life easier, doesn't it? I do a lot of traveling, and sitting on a seat, an upright seat for 10 or 12 hours on a transatlantic flight, I tell you, is not fun. So, it takes money to be able to do what we do, to travel, to invest in our business, to keep the whole show on the road. So, it wasn't always like that for me, being in this position. So when I started out in business many years ago, believe it or not, there was no internet. Can you imagine a life before Facebook? It's a horrible thought, isn't it? Before Twitter, before Instagram, before social media. So I started out, and I had just come out of a interesting way of living where I had been an anarchist. There's no other way of saying it. I'd been a bit of a rebel, and I'd been living a very interesting lifestyle for about 5 years, which meant I was completely broke. I had no money to spend on anything. So I got myself up and running to offer what I called self-esteem consulting. I was doing massage as well. I had about 5 clients. So I was just about paying bills. I thought to myself, how am I going to reach people? I was really passionate about what I was doing, and I wanted to make the business work. Otherwise, I was going nowhere. Can anybody relate to this? You're really excited about what you're doing. You know it makes a heck of a difference, but you just need to get more people to know about it. Yeah? So I knew that advertising wasn't an option. I had a mentor at the time, and that's what she did. She took out ads, but she took them out every single week in a whole range of magazines. And I knew you couldn't just take out one ad. It had to be week after week. I didn't have the budget for that. So I thought to myself, getting free editorial coverage in the media is the way to go. So I wrote my own press release, and I sent it out, as if it had come from maybe somebody else. And I invited some journalists to come and, try what I was doing. And one morning, at about 7:10, the phone rang. And for those of you who don't remember, there was a time when we didn't have mobile phones. They were connected to a socket in the wall. And it was usually in the living room. So, you had to downstairs and get the phone. And it was this lady in a tube station wanting to book an appointment with me at 7:10 in the morning. So I booked her in. I said, by the way, why are you calling me? It's 7:10. She said, because you're going to get really busy. You haven't seen this article in a magazine, have you? And she was literally standing in the tube station, Leicester Square or something, calling me, because this feature had come out in a magazine. And I put the phone down, and it rang again. And it went like that all day long. No exaggeration. I was still in my pajamas at 4:30 in the afternoon. I had to call out the window to a friend who was passing and say, come in. I need you now, in here. So I could get dressed. And my life changed literally overnight. It never went back from that day forth. I was positioned and I was established. And by the end of the day, I was booked up for about 3 months, like 6 days a week. And my income went up from, I don't know what, About 500%, that's for sure. So can you see how evangelical I am about this stuff and why? So let me tell you what you need to get in the press, and let me just check on the timing before I do that. Okay. I can't believe the time goes like that. Oh, no. I'm reading it all wrong. Thank God. Suddenly I thought it was 1:30. No, okay. So here's what you need to get into the media. You need a couple of things. First thing you need is what I call a killer pitch. Journalists receive between 200 and 800 press releases or pitches. So a pitch is basically your idea. They get between 200 and 800 a day, every day. Can you imagine what that must feel like? Whoa! So 97% of everything that they receive gets deleted. It just gets discarded. Can you see how competitive it is? So you need a killer strap line to get them to open the email in the first place, and you need a killer pitch. So these are some clients where I've actually written the pitch, so I tend to do that with private clients. Deirdre's in Belfast. She was opening a healing centre. And I said, listen, we need to get you into the Belfast Telegraph. We need you on the front page of the Belfast Telegraph. And she was like, oh my God, that's impossible. I said, don't be silly, I'm going to write the pitch. So I wrote the pitch. Journalists came back straight away. I mean, here's the thing. If you have a great pitch and it's absolutely right for that place, they'll come back straight away. They'll either come back straight away or you will never hear from them. That's the good news, and it's the bad news. The good news is they respond quickly if you get it right. The bad news is you get one go at a first impression. So it's much harder the second time because they've already, they've got an association with your name. Anyway, I got a great pitch, and she got the front page of the Belfast Telegraph. Now, this is Northern Ireland. It's not the UK. The readership is 155,000. That's insane. How else can you reach 155,000 people like that for free with the authority of that newspaper behind you, endorsing you? So overnight, she was launched. Overnight, her centre in the middle of Belfast was launched. People are calling, wanting to book up. People are calling her saying, I'd no idea you were so interesting. People who'd known her for years were like, I must book a session with you. I had no idea. Because most of you don't know how interesting you are. And no disrespect, but most of you don't know how to present yourself in an interesting way. If you're British, it's part of your birthright to be a little bit coy and a little bit self-effacing. Does that make sense? So there's a real skill to taking the interesting bits about you and positioning it so it's really relevant to what you're pitching. So, can you believe that Deirdre did not realize that having 2 heart attacks in 1 week at the age of 42 was a really interesting thing? Unbelievable. Anyway, but I was just going to say, I just wanted to say, the other thing you need is a great hook. So what I mean by a hook is something that's already going on that you can just hook onto. Now, I got really lucky with Deirdre. I'd love to claim this. It's just me being extraordinarily smart. Honestly, it was just a fluke. When I sent in Deirdre's pitch, and I led with the fact she'd had 2 heart attacks. By the way, can you hear me okay? Okay, we might have to stop that thing going on over there, that other talk. Okay, I'm only joking. That man's looking very worried. I didn't know when I sent in the pitch about Deirdre, leading with the fact that she'd had 2 heart attacks at 42, that the next week was World Heart Day. Can you believe that? So they obviously thought I was a genius at the Telegraph, and I'd already figured all that out. So, of course, they came back straight away and said, this is sensational. It's World Heart Day next Tuesday, and we've just been scratching our heads, thinking, what are we going to do? Thank you. So, truthfully, if I had realized it was World Heart Day, I could have actually probably got Deirdre I could have got her into the Telegraph or the Daily Mail if I'd known a little bit ahead of time. So you want to look for something that's already going on that you can hook into.
If you're interested in working with me, contributing to the magazine, maybe speaking at any of our many events around the world, partnering or licensing The Best You, go to www.thebestyou.co.
Hands up if this is making sense to you. Excellent. Okay, what else have we got? Aha, that's the great hook. Now, this is really interesting. This is lovely Diane Stevens, my client. You see, your biggest obstacle that every single one of you have right now is standing out. Whatever you do, you're in a crowded marketplace. How many of you are coaches? Okay, great. How many of you are in the helping profession, as it were? Okay. What do the rest of you do? Okay, tell me later. Okay, so truthfully, it doesn't matter what you do. You've got to make a phenomenal effort to stand out. Otherwise, people can't see you. Here's the worst thing that happens when you don't stand out. You have to compete on price. People will make a decision to work with you, to buy your services, based on whether you're the cheapest or not. Is this making sense? Have you all had that conversation? Well, wait a minute, so-and-so only charges X amount and she does X, Y, and Z. That is a horrible conversation. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never had that conversation since I started to get in the media. I had it beforehand, but I never, in all honesty. Because people just assume I'm going to be more expensive. And the truth is I probably am. So with Diane, she's a counsellor. So is half the world. That's not enough to get her in the press. She's a relationship counsellor. So is half the world as well. So I came up with this idea. Because here's what you've got to do. You've got to come up with really interesting ideas. But here's the other advantage of that. If you come up with a really interesting idea for the media, chances are it's a really interesting idea for your customers and clients. So we came up with this idea for an away day for couples. We found a statistic that said that most couples spend about half an hour a day quality time together. The divorce rate in the UK is the highest in Europe. Hello, is there a connection? So I came up with a great pitch that said, hey, Diane has put this away day together so that couples can have this quality time. She's there to facilitate creating the next stage of their life and a new vision for their future. So we sent it off to 2 papers. They both came back instantly, 10 minutes, and said, this is actually great. Brilliant idea, love it. The Mail said, come back and talk to us in January. The Express said, we'll probably do it in January, but can we do something else with you right now? So sometimes you'll get a hook, which is terrific. But just because you've made a connection with them, you've positioned yourself as somebody interesting, you're going to get in via some other route. So it was Christmas. Diane did a feature for them, came up with 10 top tips on how to avoid a family fallout during Christmas. It's the Express, 3 million readers. Sensational, isn't it? So she got 1,500 hits to her website in one day, just like that. So, what else do we need? Here's the other thing. I just wanted to share with you, when Diane opened the paper that day and she saw her name in print across 2 pages in the center of the paper, honestly, she said it was like having an out-of-body experience. Because she had always thought that being featured in the press was something that happened to other people. Can you relate to that? That other people get that sort of exposure and somehow the paper mysteriously discovers them? And honestly, it's made an enormous difference to how she looks at herself. Now, in the feature, they called her, what did they call her? I think they just called her a counselor. So I immediately called her and said, Diane, you were never a counselor. You were never, ever a counselor. You're always a relationship expert, or you're a leading counselor. Because here's the thing. The way you speak yourself is the way they're going to speak you. So she said, okay, I got it. I should have checked with you. So next time, she's got a feature in Good Housekeeping coming out in May's issue. Next time, she said to them, could you make sure that after my name, that I'm positioned as a relationship expert? They said, absolutely. Can you see how having a profile like that, when people see it, they come to you and they're coming to you in a different way. You're special. You're different. You're not just another counselor. You're not just another relationship counselor. You're a relationship expert. So says the media. So says a magazine or a newspaper that they have a respect for, have a regard for. So what else do we need? First of all, before I go on, I just want to ask you, how's this working for you? If you were featured in somewhere like one of these places, and you had people reaching out to you, clamoring to talk to you and get your help, how would that feel? Just think about it. They're not asking. Their first question is not, how much is it? That's not their first question. Their first question probably is, when is your next appointment? How busy are you? How would that be? Just think about that for a moment. How many of you would actually really, honestly love to be in that situation? It's pretty good. Here's the other advantage. You pretty much get whatever you want. You pretty much fulfill all your business goals. That's the absolute truth. That is the absolute truth. Whether you want to travel the world and speak on stages, what will happen is you'll have people come to you. And that's a much nicer feeling, believe me, than you calling people and saying, hi, I'm Fiona, da-da-da-da-da. You will, how many of you want to write a book? Anybody interested in getting a book out there? Okay, you'll get book deals. You'll get book deals. When I made the decision that I wanted to get a book deal, I knew that the smartest thing that I could do would be to have publishers contact me. Doesn't that make sense? Anybody gone after a book deal? It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. They want you now. It's actually harder nowadays than in my day because they expect you to have a platform on social media. They expect you to have 20, 30, 50,000 followers on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Anyway, if you're in the media, you'll probably get a book deal. They will probably come to you, because that's what happened to me. I had a half-page feature in the Daily Telegraph. If I'd paid for that, by the way, it would have been £46,000. And it wouldn't have had the endorsement, the authority of the journalist saying, what she does works wonders for me, advisor to celebrities, politicians, and the media. By the end of the day, I was pretty much signed to Hodder and Stoughton. That feature came out in the morning. I took a phone call from Hodder and Stoughton, and they said, have you thought about writing a book? And I said, absolutely. And they said, can you write? I said, absolutely. And they said, would you like to meet this week and let's discuss? I said, absolutely. And by the end of the week, I had a 5-figure, 3-book deal for Be Your Own Life Coach, the 10-Minute Life Coach, and the 7 Rules of Success. So it just makes life easier. Just making sense? I must just check on the time. So, let's see what else you need. Yeah. It's important to present yourself already as an authority. So Ziggy's a client of mine, and we have positioned her as one of the UK's leading holistic beauty experts. So when we send out a press release or a pitch, that's how we position her. So let's run through what you need to be what I call a media magnet. So my goal for all of you is that you take a decision today to commit to getting out there, to being seen by the people that you want to be in front of, so that you're not a secret. You cannot be a success and a secret, people. And actually, here's the thing. I believe, you actually have to take a decision that you're going to be out there, that you're going to be seen in the world. Does this make sense to you? It starts with a decision. You have to be willing to be seen, to get known. You cannot be a secret and a success. You have to make your message the thing that really matters. You have to get over any concerns or insecurities. You have to want to reach people. You have to want to make the difference that you want to make in the world. So I'm going to invite you today, I believe it's the 27th of February, I'm going to invite you to make today, like now, the moment that you make the decision that you're going to get over yourself. Really, that you're going to get over yourself in order to reach the people that you want to reach. Because if I hadn't written Be Your Own Life Coach, if I hadn't done the things that I did to get it, a lot of people wouldn't have got the help that they got from that book. You're the same. You're the same. You're here because you have something that you want to get out of you. Am I right? You've got something that you want to give to the world, that you want to bring to the world. There's a difference that you want to make in the world. I am telling you, there is nothing on this earth that is more powerful or faster to help you do that than getting in the media. Nothing. Nothing. So let's go through what you need. Has everybody made the decision, by the way? And make sure that you write it down today as well. There is a magic to writing stuff down, like decisions. So make sure that you write it down today. If not right now, well, it should be right now, really, then today. So let's go through what you need to be a media magnet. So what I mean by that, it's not a slogan. I mean that what I really want for all of you is this. I want you to get good at this stuff. I want you to commit to getting good at this stuff so that the media come to you. And that's what happened to me. I got good at it so that the media now come to me for little sound bites, little opinions, all sorts of stuff. So you need to know the media. You need to decide where you want to be seen, where you want to be positioned, where your audience is reading. The people that you want to reach, what are they watching? What are they listening to? What are they reading? So you need to know that media really well. And you can get started on this stuff like today, really today. You need a really great pitch. 97% of what is given to journalists is discarded. You need to be really good at this stuff because you get one go at a first impression. You need a great hook, so something that's already going on. By the way, I do want to take some questions, so don't let me forget to take questions. You need to present yourself as an authority. You need to do that in quite a subtle way, but you need to do it. Because journalists don't want to take chances. If they're going to take an opinion from you, they need to feel secure and confident that you are a credible expert in that way. You need to, I love this actually, it's absolutely brilliant. I wrote it myself, but I do love it. You need to solve one of society's problems. So let me give you an example. I started working with an American client last week, and we were looking for a problem that he could solve. So he's an American coach. He's been working since the 80s. He's actually brilliant at what he does, but he hasn't had any exposure. Some of you can relate to that. You are really good at what you do, but you see other people getting the recognition and getting the reward. Is this making sense? I'm seeing nods at yeah. I love to help people like you. I'll tell you why. Because your motivation for what you do is actually so clear and so good. But what you're not good at is presenting yourself. Is this making sense? You are the people that I can really help. You're great at what you do. You should be out there. You should be reaching more people because you're the people who are going to make a difference in the world. So my lovely client, Rick, he'd been working in the States since the late 80s. So anyway, we were looking for a particular problem that he could solve. And he's even got a book out, and that hasn't made a difference to his profile. So I figured out that his big message for Americans is, where's our American lady? Okay, Americans are not very happy these days. Bless them. No. Their use of antidepressants is like, my God, what? It's like Smarties. So I got this great research that said how Americans, especially women, their use of antidepressants, has gone through the roof. Oh my God. And that Americans are like way down the scale. They're number 15 on the scale of happiest nations. So it's bad. It's very bad indeed. So I got Rick really clear on his point of view, what his position was on all of this. It's really good, actually. It's basically that Americans are looking for happiness in all the wrong places. They've got to start looking for meaning. What's going to give my life meaning? But here's the really neat thing. So I said to him, okay, what's going on in the American media right now? We need a hook. And he said, well, nothing. I said, oh, come on. He said, well, everybody's talking about the presidential election. It's just everywhere. There is nothing else. I said, perfect. Your Constitution tells Americans that they have that happiness is their birthright. The pursuit of happiness. So anyway, we did a great pitch, linking it to, it doesn't matter what president is going to come in. It's not going to make any difference to your happiness. Here's what you need to do to be happy.
If you're interested in watching the video content of this interview and many others, or interested in learning from world leaders and teachers, go to www.thebestyou.online.
So, sorry, I just had to share that because I'm so excited about it. America's insane. Insane. The highest selling magazine in America, do you know what the readership is? I cannot wait to get my hands on more American clients. It's going to be amazing. 22 million. 22 million. It's incredible. He said to me originally, I'd love to get into Oprah. I said, let's look at the circulation. 2 million. I said, forget it. We're going to go over there. 22.2 million. Insane. Anyway. You need to solve one of society's problems. You need to be able to reach influential freelancers. So these days, the majority of journalists are not staff journalists. You're not necessarily going to find them sitting at a desk in the Daily Mail or the Daily Telegraph. You're going to find them sitting at home in Surrey or Surbiton or somewhere. Reaching them is really difficult. So you need to be able to reach those people. And finally, you've got to be consistent. This isn't something that you can do once and keep your fingers crossed. It's something you have to commit to doing on a regular basis. So I would say once a month, you need to be sending out a killer pitch. Is this overwhelming? Does it sound like a lot? Okay, good. So I have put something together that actually gives you all of that walks you through that and teaches you how to do it. Would you like to find out? Would you like to hear how I can help you with that? So I put together something called the Media Magnet Program. you're going to work with me for 6 months. So you're going to be under my wing for 6 months, which means I'm going to teach you how to write a killer pitch. You're going to send out a killer pitch to where I tell you to send it. And each month you're going to put together what I call your media message, your pitch. And if it's not ready to go, it's not going to go, because you'll sabotage relationships. You get one go to form a relationship with a journalist. If you get it wrong at the get-go, there probably isn't a second chance. Does that make sense? So you're going to create the pitch. I'm going to guide you on it. If it's not ready to go, it's not going. And you're going to learn so that next month you'll get it right. I'm going to teach you what a great hook is. You're going to learn over 6 months to spot hooks. You'll be looking at the weather. Depends on what you do, but you're going to be looking at what you do, and you're going to be looking for hooks. In fact, you're going to spot the hooks 6 months ahead of time, because it's going to be part of your homework. You're going to look at what you do. Maybe you're a relationship counselor. So you're going to look at those points in the year where you can be an answer to a problem. It might be Easter, it might be Christmas, whatever it is. You're going to solve one of society's biggest problems. That's what you're going to do. Because here's the thing, you've got to be doing something important for the media to take notice of you. It's got to be pretty big, pretty important. Some of you are thinking, I don't know if what I do is that important. Yes, it is. You just haven't joined the dots between what you do and that problem. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. Reaching influential freelancers, I'm going to give you that information. So right now I've got somebody putting all that information together, and when we work together, I'm going to give you that. So you have an up-to-date list of national contacts. How good is that? So, any questions? Let me just check on the time. We've got a couple of minutes. Any questions on any of this? So I'm going to ask my glamorous assistants. I got a couple of minutes. Lydia and James, would you be so good as to hand this out? So this is the information on the Media Magnet program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did we have any questions? I've got a microphone here. Oh, great, we've got a question.
Hello.
Hello.
I had
It's always a bit scary, isn't it?
Hello. How do you present yourself as an authority without lying?
How do you present yourself
As an authority without lying?
an authority without lying? That's a great question.
Because I don't.
You have
like
to be
lying.
pretty clever. Because, no, keep the microphone. Keep the microphone. Here's the thing. Most people are really coy and unclear about how to present themselves in a way that is powerful but not lying. So with Ziggy, I didn't say she's the UK's leading holistic beauty expert, because actually that would be stretching the truth too far. But she is absolutely definite. She can claim to be one of the leading experts. She has enough experience behind her to give her that credibility. Now, what I do when I work with people, I'll be honest, is I make you a bit bolder than you would be otherwise. So you've got to have a little bit of chutzpah to do this stuff. You just have to. And what I do is I show you what justifies you to position yourself in that way. But you have to, people. Because if you're all coy and shy and there's nothing interesting about you, nobody's going to take any notice of you. Does that make sense? What is it that you do?
Hello. You can still hear me. I teach English as a foreign language, but I'm currently combining that with confidence coaching. So
confidence coaching?
Yeah, so giving people who learn English as a foreign language the confidence to believe that they can speak English. Because I meet many students who are like, I can't speak English. My English is so
that's
bad.
Nice. That's really interesting. Yeah. You could wrap that up and make it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Pull it together. It's a little bit scattered. Yeah. Thank you. Did we have another question over here? Was there somewhere here? Any other questions? We've got a question here. Just while I'm waiting for the mic to go there, I just want to tell you that you guys are getting a bonus from me. And it's only the people in this room. So when you join me today on the Media Magnet program, you are going to get, everyone who joins today is going to get a private session with me, one-to-one. And nobody else gets that. So that's just the people who sign up and join today. The other bonus that you get is that you're going to be on a call with me and one of the journalists who I'm working on this program with, and we're going to actually write you a killer pitch. We got some over here. We need some over here. So we're going to get on the phone with you, and we're going to write the pitch for you. Quite frankly, it is probably worth the price of the program just to get that, because then we're going to send it out for you. You're going to send it out to exactly the right journalist with a killer subject line. So how good is that? The other bonus you're getting, and I've never done this before, you're getting my Star Maker program, which is it's £3,000 plus VAT, Star Maker program. So I'm giving you that because you need to have it. You need to be really clear before you go to the media, the problem that you're solving, exactly who you are solving a problem for, and why you are the person to deliver that solution. Because if you're fuzzy and you haven't got that clarity, it makes it really difficult to go to the media. So in all honesty, it's going to make my job easier when I work with you if you've got that stuff clear. So my Star Maker program, basically, it's a 4-year-old could do it. It's questions, it's templates, it's audios from me, ensuring that you're totally clear what the problem is that you're solving and who you're solving it for and why you are the person to solve it. So that's like the foundation. You've got to get that clarity, and then we can start to go to the media. Is this making sense? Go ahead. No, go ahead. We'll come to you next. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, you might have already answered it by what you were just saying. For me, it's slightly different. Like, I have a concept. I don't really have an interest in monetizing.
Excuse me just a second. Lydia, we're out of forms. Could we get some more from the stand? Okay. I beg your pardon.
No, that's right. I have a concept. I'm not very interested in monetizing it, but I'm very interested in having a huge impact where it reaches a large amount of people.
Okay.
Ideally through the media.
Okay.
But I don't have a product to sell. I don't have anything.
What's your message?
Well, I have an autoimmune illness, and I'm very interested in healing it naturally. I'm in the progress of doing that.
Okay.
And I'm documenting it with photos, and, I'm just writing my own sort of list of things to do. But when I put it on the website, I want to make sure, I want it to have a big impact. Yeah. So a lot of people are interested in it. So I'm very interested in trying to contact media. I haven't actually started doing it yet.
Okay. Don't do it yet.
Don't do it yet. Okay.
No. What you should do is really study where you want to get to. So not all the media is going to cover this. I would do an exclusive with one newspaper. And here's what I would do. I would really study and find a journalist who was sympathetic to that condition. Or better still, better still, that they had that condition themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely.
And then it's a done deal. Because they're going to champion you. They're going to want to get that message out. And suddenly you've got an advocate. So hold back, and do that homework first of all. Because not every paper's going to take it. You're going to do this exclusively with one. Okay. But it's good. It's good. And definitely radio and definitely television. Definitely. I love that scarf.
Fiona. Thank you. I'm slightly different. I'm not a coach. I support people, but I've got two target audiences that I think I've got.
Hold the mic on.
I've got two target audiences that I feel that I could try and attract.
Okay.
So I run a business where I support small businesses.
Okay.
And so my target audience is small businesses.
Okay.
But equally, I'm building a growing team of flexible workers.
Okay. So what's your question?
My question is, should I be heading to attract people that want flexible working? So getting out there and saying, this is how I've done it, you could do it too. Or am I just trying to attract businesses to come to me?
What's going to make you more money?
Well, I kind of need I need both things, if you like. I need the people working with me so I can work with all the clients that are coming in. But equally, I need clients to be able to give business to my team.
Do you know what? Just pick a horse. Pick a horse and ride it.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. One or the other.
Sorry, I didn't want to waste your time.
No, not at all. That's the answer. Pick a horse and ride it.
Thank
you. So,
you.
guys, it's been really, really, really great to spend the time with you. Thank you for coming. It's a relief that you're all here. When you fill the forms out, could you hand them to me or James or wonderful Lydia at the back? If you're not sure about anything and you want to talk to me, if you're not sure whether it's the right thing for you or there's something else that you're thinking about you'd rather get, write down on the back of the form that you'd like to speak with me and I will call you. Obviously, I can't do that if I have an audience of 10,000, but I can do it here. So write down your telephone numbers on the back of the form and just hand it in to us. Okay, anything else for now? Are we good? Have an amazing day. And listen, come and see me at the stand, 116. Yeah, I'll be here for 2 days. Take care. Thank you. Thanks so much.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.